Every local authority and relevant health board has a statutory duty to produce a children's services plan. The aim of the plan is to improve outcomes for children and young people. To do this, we need to make sure that we work together to plan and deliver services. Our services need to be integrated, focused on preventing problems arising in the first place, or intervening as soon as difficulties become apparent. Dedicated to safeguarding, supporting and promoting the well-being of all children. The Children's Services Partnership in Moray are committed to co-producing and implementing a plan with and for children, young people and families. Our plan places children at its centre and aims to ensure the right support is delivered by the right people at the right time. It's not about what we as professionals will do to children, young people and families. It's about how we will work together to tackle the tricky issues, the issues where we need to work collaboratively to deliver improvements. Our first step was to create a vision for Moray's children. Our vision is children have the right to live in communities where their voice is heard and they are built up to be all they can be. It was produced by Moray Youth Matters, which is a diverse group of young people from the different communities which make up Moray and representing a wide range of equalities groups. They had input from both parents and the people who provide supports and services for children and families in Moray. To identify where we should focus our efforts and combined resources to realise this vision, we looked at the statistical evidence available. We also invested a significant amount of time in having conversations with the real experts, children and young people themselves, their parents and the frontline practitioners and community members who know them best. We did this in a number of ways. Through our Realigning Children's Services programme, we asked 5,247 school pupils about their health and well-being. Our nursery and early primary staff had conversations with 194 younger children and their parents about their needs, their experiences of existing supports and services, the gaps locally and the improvements needed. We sought the views of 959 parents of school-aged children in Moray about what help they need as parents and the supports they access and those they feel are missing. Through our locality planning structures, we had conversations with 78 frontline practitioners and community representatives. We also ran drop-in sessions with parents with 2 local employers, Baxter's and Moray Council. Each time we shared the themes from previous conversation, building up a clearer picture of needs and priorities along the way. At the end of this conversation, 4 key interrelating priorities were agreed. Firstly, improve the well-being of children and young people. By that we mean the mental, physical and social well-being. Secondly, mitigating the impact of poverty. Thirdly, keeping children safe and free from harm. And finally, improving the outcomes and life chances of children and young people who are looked after or who have experienced care. So why do people who have so many demands on their time choose to join the conversation? And why have they decided to continue to invest their time in working together to translate this conversation into action? Action which we can then evidence delivers improved outcomes for our children and families in Moray.
The kind of questions that we were asked to consider in the meetings, in the first one, it was very much about what we understood or recognised of what children and young people were saying in Moray, both in terms of what had been gathered from children and young people themselves, but also our own experience of working with them. And I suppose that kind of fed into the second as well, because in the consultation meeting, it was about looking at how that information had been included in the preparation of the plan, and then taking it a step further to consider what action plan needed to be part of that. So we were able to add in our own knowledge and experience, and from our point of view, the considerations of young carers specifically, which is really important. I think it's very important for practitioners to be involved in the creation of the vision, because they're working day to day with the children and young people themselves, and it adds value to the information that's being gathered from those children and young people. The practitioners can see the difference that it's making day to day, but also have an understanding of what's possible in terms of delivery to keep things grounded in some respects. The session definitely helped us link our own services role and priorities to the key priorities within the Children's Services Plan, because it's absolutely raising the profile of young carers, and that's completely what we're about. And the more that that's available and recognised in universal services, the better. I think continuing to involve children, young people, their families and the practitioners in this type of development is absolutely crucial. And the steps that have been taken so far are the building blocks that we can keep going for the future. Widening out that engagement to include people who perhaps this time around maybe didn't see the point is going to be the bit that's going to be difficult, and we all need to get involved in.
We have quite a number of young people and families who it was just about managing, families who are managing 3 jobs or whatever, and with the rurality of Speyside as well, that adds an extra dimension of hardship for people, and also the idea of supporting parents through all that, and that's certainly something that we're looking at as being a major focus of our school improvement plan for the next session and over the next 3 years. At Speyside High School, we've got quite a lot of work going on with the action group that represents the LMGs. Our youth workers are very much involved in the school. We've just been developing our mental health and wellbeing policy that's been written by young people with the youth workers to ensure that we're addressing that. And that's been a really important step forward for the school. It does ensure that we have all those young people's voices heard. I suppose looking at youth groups, ensuring that their voice is being heard, and also looking at the kind of creative ways of speaking with parents.
Well, I've been facilitating Moray Youth Matters groups. So during those sessions, young people come together from all over Moray and they discuss various topics that they decided are important for young people within Moray and how they can address those topics. I think it's really important that young people are consulted because the services are for them. So for one thing, they're the experts on being young and what the issues are and possible ways to address those issues. So that's really important that they're included and also seen to be included, that they are the most important stakeholders within that. If Moray Youth Matters keeps meeting regularly and discussing different themes with perhaps subgroups on the issues they feel are important, and then evaluate their progress as they go through to make sure their initial vision is carried forward.
I was involved in a few meetings with Youth Matters, and in those meetings we spoke about what was important to young people, and we spoke about a vision that they saw, and we spoke about how we should change that to fit what they really want. And we also touched a bit on poverty and what causes it and how we should prevent it, and we came up with a couple of different ideas like EMA for school uniform and that. I think it's a young person's right to have their own voice in what matters to them and what involves them. I think having something like a group like Youth Matters carrying on and having different sectors, like having for the safety, having the police force in that sector working on that area, having that would be able to increase workload and be able to get more done.
Some of the key themes that came out of the questionnaire that were of interest to me personally were the wellbeing and mental health issues that were raised and discussed. It was good to see that youngsters had engaged for a start. That's always good to see. And it was great to get a sense that we were able as parents to contribute towards something that is going to be potentially several years of our youngsters' lives. I think communication is key. Getting parents around a table where they feel that they can have their say, and an open say, not a prescripted say, and actually have genuine, meaningful conversations, and actually on data that is relevant to the youngsters themselves. They're the service users. We're just the advocates for those service users.